To another Fox News alert, the government shutdown deadline is quickly approaching as President-elect Trump and Doge leaders are rallying Republicans against the 1,500-plus page spending deal.
They're calling it Pork Fest. Peter Doocy is live in Washington with all the details for us. Hey, Peter.
Good morning. The vice president-elect, J.D. Vance, didn't leave Speaker Johnson's office till almost 10 p.m., late enough that Vance's son, who was with him, was in his pajamas. They are working on a plan B to avoid a government shutdown Saturday.
This is a sandwich. I don't know how else to say that. We're being forced into this position. They could have done a standalone. They did this because they knew that it would put members in this position to support it. We're damned if we do. We're damned if we don't.
Pressure from the president-elect read like this on Truth Social. Sounds like the ridiculous and extraordinarily expensive continuing resolution plus is dying fast. And one of the things that made it so expensive, raises for members of Congress.
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news.
People look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
We're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
The top House Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, wrote, House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt the working class Americans they claim to support. You break the bipartisan agreement, you own the consequences that follow. Elon Musk saw that and tweeted back, X'd back, you seem to think the public is dumb. They are not. And with all this, a lot has changed since Speaker Johnson was on this program yesterday.
Remember, right now, we only control 1/2 of the federal government. Remember, Democrats are still in charge of the Senate and the White House. We decided, even though we don't normally like short-term stopgap funding measures, it made sense here.
He was really pushing this continuing resolution for a few hours, and then he pulled it. And overnight, we got an email from our Capitol Hill whisperer, Chad Pergram. His sources are handicapping the chances of a government shutdown now as high as 60-40 or 70-30. Back to you.
And don't you think part of it, Peter, is the new people involved, President-elect's back, and Elon Musk cares and has an actual role now? So when people say, well, this reminds me of, the answer is, reminds you of nothing. Because we have a president-elect who knows the job, and we have Elon Musk, whose job is to cut spending. So these are almost outsiders that were not, these were outsiders not in the room, but playing a role, right?
And something that's so interesting about this is every single member of Congress has an X account. They can record a video with their phone and talk about how they individually are against all of this outrageous spending. But it's the X-owner who says that if they ultimately go along with a bill like this, he is going to bankroll a primary against them. It makes Elon Musk the center of the universe on Capitol Hill in a way that nobody has ever seen. I get that we always have, every Christmas time, we have these government shutdown fights, and usually they just complain about it and then vote for it anyway. But there has never been an unelected official like Elon Musk at the center of it like this.
That's exactly right, Peter. Thank you very much. Peter. You know, and yesterday when we had Speaker Johnson on, we quoted to Speaker Johnson the fact that Elon Musk said this bill must die, and we surmised, well, if Elon Musk is saying that, clearly Donald Trump is probably on the same page. And it didn't take long before he came out on Truth Social and said, you got to get rid of that because there's too much stuff in it. And what it all came down to, apparently, was, you know, when he was on, the speaker yesterday, and he was talking about, okay, there's going to be disaster aid and there's going to be $100 million farm bill. Well, the Democrats said, we'll go for the farm bill, but we want all this other stuff. And that's the price of doing business if you want it to pass. And so Speaker Johnson said, okay, to all that other stuff. And all that other stuff is what hacked off all the Republicans, and those two men in that picture and that picture together didn't like it.
So after our interview with the speaker, I started working the sources, trying to talk with people about what's going on. Where does the president stand on this? Eventually, I kept getting a runaround, so I just called the president. And the president-elect is probably one of the first times it's like, put this on record. He goes, we broke the story on Fox and Friends. I'm totally against the CR. He was not only upset with the pork, but that they hadn't gotten far along in the process and that they weren't including some of the things essentially that he campaigned on. He did not like that it wasn't a clean bill. And he said, why are they waiting? He goes, when we have DOGE and we start ripping up some of these programs, it's going to probably cause a shutdown at that point in time. Why wait to start that process when he has full control? He goes, start it now. And so, look, I think him and the speaker have a great relationship, and the president made very clear he's sympathetic. He understands that he doesn't have full control right now, but he feels like they're kind of getting steamrolled right now.
Right. Well, when you read the bill, when the speaker was on with us yesterday, it seemed like we need this disaster relief money. We need this money for the farmers.
Those are must-do.
Right. It's a 1,500-page pork fest is what the DOGE leaders are calling it. 72 pages of it for pandemic preparedness and response. Do we really need that right now? Do we have to have that? Renewal of the much criticized Global Engagement Center. That's criticized. Is that important? Do we need to fund that right now? We need a football stadium in D.C.
It's been subsidized,
Yeah, a new bridge in Baltimore, a pay increase for Congress. And here's the thing. The Speaker's vote is on January 3rd with 434 members to start the new Congress. Johnson's going to need 218 of those votes. Right. The spending package was too unpopular because of its size. And then you had the grassroots effort by Elon Musk first. And in the 11th hour, it was Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, too.
Right. Yeah, and your quote is here, Lawrence. He told you on the phone, the president acknowledged Johnson's challenging situation, but emphasized that this approach is not appropriate course of action. The only thing I could say, the president's not wrong, Elon Musk is not wrong, but Johnson only has so much power. He has one half, barely, a raucous caucus, and one half of one chamber.
That's true.
So Donald Trump isn't there to help him. John Thune is not the majority leader. So he got this from the Senate. He says, I need this X, Y, and Z, and no one says the things he needs are wrong. But they say, to get that, I had to trade this.
Right.
And knowing that there are people in the Republican Party that don't even want to do what he wants to do in terms of spending and relief, like Thomas Massey. So I would think the only thing that I think the Speaker could be faulted with is just be transparent. You're at the Army-Navy game with him. You're traveling with him on the plane. Just say, guys, I got this 1,500-page bill. You're not going to like this, but this is what I did. So it doesn't become such a shock to Elon Musk.
Well, and to the members as well. There's certain, I mean, the fact that they were giving the raises to Congress and giving them the opt-out of Obamacare, all that type of stuff inside of the bill.
Is big, but I don't mind the raise. They haven't gotten a raise since 2009.
Well, the American people don't want to see that when they're struggling right now. And this is not the right thing to do before Christmas time when people are struggling. And the fact is this is the House version, which we have, control. The Republicans have control of. When it goes over to the Senate, it's only going to get worse. And so I just don't understand how you lose the moderate part of the House and you lose the fiscal conservative as well. He's getting attacked from both sides. So it's like, who were you talking to?
Ultimately, here's how the 11th hour stuff that Donald Trump has thrown into this. He said, I want to extend the debt limit. That's something nobody had heard about until yesterday. And here's the problem for a lot of Republicans. There are dozens of Republicans who have never in their political lives ever voted to raise the debt limit or extend the debt limit. And now President Trump is asking them to do that. Maybe, just maybe, and we know how he operates, maybe Donald Trump threw that in as a negotiating ploy to try to get this thing across the
he does not want to
the finish line.
According to the president-elect, he does not want to deal with the debt limit while he's president. He does not want that being used as a tool when they start doing the negotiation.
All right, well,
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.